You've been in your house for a few years now, maybe longer. You've made some updates, kept things reasonably clean, maybe even put some money into the kitchen or the backyard. And now you're thinking about selling. You pull up a few listings in your neighborhood, you talk to a real estate agent, and somewhere in that conversation, someone tells you your home is worth less than you thought. Or worse, it sits on the market for 60, 90, 120 days, and nobody makes an offer that makes sense. And you're standing there wondering what went wrong. Hit subscribe before we begin, because this video is going to walk you through exactly what's happening in this market right now, why some homes are selling fast and others aren't moving at all, and what you can actually do about it before you list. I'm Jerry Davis, and after years working in renovation and construction, I've watched the housing market go through cycles that most homeowners only experience once or twice in a lifetime. And right now, we are in one of those cycles. The rules have changed. What worked for sellers 3 or 4 years ago is not working the same way today. And the homeowners who understand that are the ones walking away from closing with real money in their pockets. The ones who don't are the ones dropping their price every 30 days, wondering why nobody's biting. Here's what's happening. The buyer pool has gotten pickier. I don't mean picky in a personality way. I mean financially strategic. When interest rates are low and inventory is tight, buyers overlook a lot. They walk into a house with a weird floor plan, dated bathrooms, a kitchen that hasn't been touched since 2003, and they still make an offer because they're scared of missing out. That panic buying mentality is gone right now. Buyers are taking their time, they're running the numbers, they're thinking about what it's going to cost them to fix things after they close. And that calculation is happening before they even make an offer. So what does that mean for you as a seller? It means every visible problem in your home just became a negotiating chip against you. Every crack, every stain, every outdated fixture, every strange paint color, every clunky layout, buyers are pricing all of that into their offer, and they're not being generous about it. Here's what no one tells you. Buyers in a slower market don't just subtract the cost of a repair. They subtract the cost of the repair plus the hassle, plus their emotional exhaustion of dealing with it. A kitchen that needs $10,000 in updates might cost you $15,000 or $20,000 in negotiating leverage. Now let's talk about the part most homeowners forget. Presentation isn't the same as renovation. I see sellers go one of two directions. They either do nothing and say it's priced accordingly, or they dump money into the wrong things and still don't see a return. Both of those approaches cost you. What actually works is understanding which improvements buyers in today's market are weighting the most, and putting your budget there. Not everywhere, not randomly, there. So let me walk you through what buyers are actually responding to right now and what they're walking away from. First, let's talk about kitchens. This is still the room that sells houses. That hasn't changed. But here's what has changed. Buyers today are not impressed by the same things they were impressed by 5 years ago. Open shelving, for example. That was everywhere for a while. Everybody ripped out their upper cabinets and painted their walls and put their dishes on display. And yes, it looks great in listing photos. I get it. But buyers are walking into those homes and thinking about the dust, the grease, the daily maintenance of keeping those shelves looking good. They're not buying the aesthetic dream. They're buying a house they have to actually live in. Open shelving is a feature that works beautifully in a staged photo and works terribly in a real kitchen. If you're getting ready to sell and you've got open shelving, I'm not saying gut the whole thing, but be prepared for buyers to mentally factor in the cost of replacing it. What buyers do want in a kitchen right now is storage. Real storage. Deep drawers, cabinet organizers, pull-out shelving, a pantry that functions properly. They want counter space that's actually usable, not cluttered with decorative stuff that makes the room look smaller. And they want appliances that are either updated or at least matching. Nothing kills a kitchen faster than one stainless steel appliance surrounded by black or white ones from different eras. It looks neglected. I know you use them every day, and they all work fine. But buyers see mismatched appliances, and they see a home that hasn't been taken care of consistently. Right or wrong, that's the perception. And perception drives price. Here's a pro tip. If your appliances are older but still functional, one of the highest return moves you can make is a matching appliance package. You don't have to go top of the line. Mid-range matching stainless is infinitely better than a mixed set of brand names from 3 different decades. The kitchen feels pulled together, intentional, and maintained. That matters. Now let's talk about bathrooms, because this is where I see some of the worst renovation decisions made under pressure to sell. Sellers panic. They hire the cheapest tile guy they can find, and they do a bathroom update that looks fine in the first 2 weeks and starts to show its age in the first 2 months. The grout lines are uneven. The tile isn't level. The caulk is already lifting. A bad bathroom update is sometimes worse than no update at all, because now it looks like someone tried and failed. Buyers see that, and they wonder what else was done cheaply. If you're updating a bathroom before you sell, do it right or don't do it at all. Use a larger format tile on the floor. 12 by 24 is a popular choice right now, and for good reason. It reads as clean, modern, and easy to maintain. Smaller mosaic tile in a bathroom grout line is a maintenance nightmare, and buyers who have ever cleaned a tile floor in their life already know that. They're doing the math in their head. 48 square feet of mosaic tile equals 400 square feet of grout. That's a no from me, and it's a mental flag for buyers too. In the shower, go simple. White or neutral large format tile, a frameless glass enclosure if the budget allows, clean chrome or matte black fixtures. Those are going to appeal to the widest range of buyers. Don't go with loud patterns. Don't go with color trends that are already fading. And please don't go with that veiny gray tile that looked like marble but didn't actually fool anyone. That loud tile might look exciting today, but it's going to be controlling every towel, every mirror, every vanity finish, and every paint color the new buyer tries to add. It limits them, and buyers feel that. This is where people mess up. They renovate for their own taste and forget that selling means selling to someone else. You are not decorating your dream bathroom. You are creating a bathroom that the largest number of buyers can see themselves living in without immediately starting to think about changes. Neutral is not boring when it comes to selling. Neutral is smart. Let me move to something a lot of people overlook completely: the floor plan and the flow of the house. You can't always fix this without major work. And I'm not telling you to knock down walls before you list. But I am telling you to think about how your home feels when someone walks through it for the first time. Is the front entrance cramped? Is the transition from the living room to the kitchen awkward? Are there spaces in the house that feel purposeless, like an odd nook that's just dead space, or a formal dining room that functions as a junk room? Buyers right now are thinking about how they're going to use every square foot. They're coming out of apartments, small starter homes, or years of working from home in spaces that didn't serve them well. They want rooms that make sense. A home that flows well feels bigger than it is. A home that's choppy and cut up feels smaller than it is, even if the square footage is the same. Simple furniture arrangement, decluttering, and removing anything that blocks natural sightlines through the space can make a real difference. This costs you nothing, and it absolutely affects how buyers feel when they walk through. Don't get me wrong, there are limits to what staging can fix. If your layout genuinely doesn't work, staging can soften it, but it can't hide it. And buyers who walk through a home and feel like something is off will feel that even if they can't name it. Know your home's weaknesses before you list it. If the floor plan is awkward, price accordingly, or address it structurally if the return is there. Talk to a contractor before you make that call. In some cases, removing a non-load-bearing wall between a kitchen and a living room can be done in a day or two. for a relatively modest cost, and the visual impact is enormous. That one move can shift a home from feeling closed off and dated to feeling open and current. That is worth having the conversation. Now let's talk about curb appeal, because I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a seller do significant work inside the house and completely ignore the outside. Buyers are forming an opinion before they get out of the car, before they open the front door, before they see your beautiful new kitchen. If the yard is overgrown, the paint is peeling on the front door, the gutters are sagging, or the driveway is cracked and stained, you've already lost some of them. They're walking in with a negative impression that your interior has to work against, instead of starting from zero. Curb appeal doesn't have to be expensive. A fresh coat of paint on the front door in a strong color, navy black, deep green, does more for first impressions than almost anything else at that price point. Power wash the driveway, the walkway, and the exterior of the house. Trim the shrubs, add mulch to the beds, replace any dead plants, install new house numbers if the old ones are faded or hard to read. These are small costs that deliver outsized perception value. And in a market where buyers are looking for reasons to make lower offers, you don't want to hand them one before they even step inside. Here's something that comes up constantly in the conversations I have with homeowners getting ready to sell: the question of whether to do a pre-listing inspection. And my honest opinion is yes, in most cases, you should. Here's why. When a buyer orders an inspection and the inspector finds problems, those problems become negotiation points under pressure. You're already in contract, you've already gotten emotionally attached to the deal, and now you're being asked to either fix things or drop the price, usually with a deadline. That's a terrible position to be in. When you do a pre-listing inspection yourself, you find out what's there ahead of time. You can fix what makes sense, price the home knowing what issues exist, and disclose them upfront rather than having them surface mid-transaction. Buyers actually respond well to a seller who says, here's what we know about the house, here's what we fixed, here's what we're disclosing. It builds trust. And trust in a real estate transaction is worth money. One thing I want to address that I hear a lot right now: sellers who are frustrated that the market isn't like it was 2 or 3 years ago. And look, I understand that frustration. If you watched your neighbor sell in a bidding war with no contingencies and 10 offers in the first weekend, and now your house has been sitting for 6 weeks, that's genuinely disorienting. But here's the thing. Wishing for a different market is not a strategy. The market is what it is. Your job as a seller is to position your home to perform as well as possible in the market that actually exists, not the one you wish existed. That means pricing it correctly from day one, not optimistically. Homes that are priced too high sit, and the longer they sit, the more buyers assume something is wrong with them. A price reduction after 60 days of no activity is far more damaging to your final sale price than pricing it correctly on day one. Buyers see that reduction and they start lowballing. The psychology of a stale listing is brutal. Price it right, present it well, and let the market respond. Trust me, this matters more than almost any other decision you make in the selling process. And yes, I know some of you are going to disagree with that, because there's always the story of someone who held firm on a high price and eventually got it. Maybe. But you also don't hear the stories of people who held firm for 6 months and eventually sold for less than they would have gotten on day 30 at a smarter price. Those stories don't get shared at dinner parties. Here's a pro tip for contractors and renovation conversations. If you're hiring someone to do work before you list, be very clear about your timeline and your goal. Tell them you're selling. Tell them buyers are going to walk through in 6 weeks. That changes the conversation. A good contractor will help you prioritize what has the highest return and what can be left alone. A bad contractor will tell you to do everything and run up the bill. Get 2 or 3 opinions before you commit to any significant pre-sale renovation. And always get it in writing: scope, timeline, payment schedule. Do not start work on a handshake when you're under pressure to get a house on the market. Tell me in the comments which one of these you were either about to do or have already done, because I guarantee at least one of these shows up in almost every home that's sitting longer than it should. At the end of the day, selling a home in this market is about understanding what buyers are actually prioritizing, not what buyers were prioritizing 2 years ago. Storage over style, function over trend, honest pricing over wishful thinking, presentation over neglect. These are not complicated ideas, but they require you to look at your home the way a buyer is going to look at it, not the way you've been looking at it for years. That shift in perspective is the most valuable thing you can take from this video. A good sale is not about luck or timing alone. It's about making decisions that give your home the best possible shot in the market that actually exists right now. And every one of the things we talked about today is something you have control over. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's getting ready to sell because they need to hear this. I'll catch you in the next one.